All right.
Alright,
We're good.
alright,
Messiah, thank you for taking the time to do this. I appreciate it.
of course.
I appreciate it. Today we are going to be talking about meditation.
Okay.
I know this is something you brought up to me a few weeks ago.
Right.
I thought it was a really, really great topic, especially in today's world,
Definitely.
constant movement,
Definitely.
all the distractions in people's lives,
Definitely.
And I think it's important to take some time out of the day, either at the beginning of the day or whatever,
Right.
to set that time aside and really like decompress.
Definitely.
I think everybody could use that in their lives right now.
A lot of people need it.
Yeah, of course, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure you know people in your personal life
Mm-hmm.
and people you see every day down the street and stuff that
Right.
could really use it. So I guess we could start. Like one of the first questions I have written down here is like what drew you to meditation? Like when did that start?
What drew me to meditation was what I had going on in my life. So, it was just a lot of me just waking up, just me going straight to my phone, just distracting myself as soon as I wake up,
Yeah.
at nighttime before I go to sleep. It was a lot of that. And it was just like I wasn't, getting peace throughout the day. So
Yeah.
I actually went online.
So like when you look at your phone, you think it's like a distraction almost.
I really think it's a distraction. Especially as soon as you wake up. I
soon
feel
as you
like
wake
as soon
up,
as you
right?
wake up, you should at least give yourself an hour to get your mind right.
It just seems so artificial. Like when you wake up and you start staring at a screen, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, that's what really drew me towards it. I just wanted a peace of mind when I wake up.
Yeah.
So I decided to look up, meditation, how to do it, and pardon self. At first when I did it, it really wasn't working for me, but as I got going, I started doing it. It started working more for me.
Yeah.
Started seeing definitely benefits.
Yeah. So like when you started, it was a little difficult, right?
It was
Because it's like it's new to you,
Right.
And it's hard to really focus
Right.
when you got to sit still, especially.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
like especially being in New York, everybody's this constant movement, constant doing this, doing that, running errands.
Right.
And I think it's really amazing that you were able to like do that and like work through the struggle.
Right.
So like I guess that's a leads up to my second question almost. How do you like recommend for people to like overcome that struggle? Like should they just like face that struggle? Like is struggle something that you'll always encounter, or will it come easier to some people and not as easy to other people?
Yeah, it's something that's it's a skill that's definitely gonna take a minute to achieve, but
Yeah.
you definitely should, just work right through it. The first couple times it's not gonna be good because some people might have a noisy house, or they just might have a lot of thoughts in their brain. There's a lot of type of things, but you should just either find a space that's very comfortable for you, or just try to overcome them thoughts in your head. Like practice a breathing technique so you could focus on that without focusing on all them thoughts in your head. Right.
So you'd say it's a breathing technique, like getting that breathing technique down is
Right.
something that is unique to everybody, because not everybody's going to use the same breathing technique, right?
Right.
So once they find that, that's a crucial part, is what you're saying.
Right.
Got it. Cool. No, that's amazing. When it comes, like delving a little deeper, right? How would you describe like meditation to someone that's never actually meditated before, or who even knows what meditation is?
How I would describe meditation, I would really say it's a way of, just getting a peace of mind when you're walking out the door.
Yeah.
Outside, just having your head clear without all of these thoughts running through your head. So you just have a more better and peaceful day. Definitely.
Got it. No, that's good.
Definitely.
What I'd assume like when someone starts to meditate, it'll be like the patient. I feel like patience is a big thing,
Of course.
especially when you're sitting down in the silence, right? And you're actively trying to like block all the thoughts out of your own mind, right? Being that it's so hard in the beginning, how long would you say it's good for someone to meditate for? Like, is it a standard? is it like a one size fits all type of thing where you have to meditate for this amount of time, or can that change based on a person's situation or a person's like?
I definitely say it can change, but if you're starting off meditating, I would say about 10 minutes a day will go perfect.
10
When
minutes.
when you first starting off, 10 minutes a day will go perfect. Then you could up it to about 20 minutes, then an hour, more as you go on. But definitely about you, it does change, and I feel like you should start small first.
Start small
And
with
then go big.
with everything
Yeah.
in life, right? Start small,
Right.
gradually, like work your way up, right?
Right.
Right. That's the same. I guess that's the same with everything in life.
Right.
Everything that's difficult, you got to practice a little
Definitely.
bit.
Right.
Yeah. Nice, nice. When you're meditating and when you're actively trying to fight all these demons, all these thoughts in your mind, right?
Yeah.
What if someone's really trying their best, but they can't really get those thoughts out? If they really can't get those thoughts out of their mind, how would you like, what would you tell them to sort of encourage them or put them at ease a little bit? Or like what strategy can they employ? Like what strategy can they work on to really hone in on that focus?
Like I said before, it's either you can find if you gotta you can find a more peaceful spot, if it's the noise or anything for you. But what I say to do is just try to fight those thoughts, practice a breathing technique, do certain things that distract you from them thoughts in your head. Yes.
Got it. And like when you're dedicating a portion of your day, like whether it be like 10, 20, 30 minutes,
Right.
I'm sure that'll benefit some people eventually, like, down the
Definitely.
line when they get better at it too, and they're better able to like fight those thoughts.
Definitely.
I think that could really set up the rest of their day. Like I know how
Definitely.
some people like to start their day with like a run or like a jog or like a workout
Right.
session.
Right.
I feel the same applies to meditation. If you can really start your day with a good session, that
Right.
really like sets up your mood for the rest of the day,
Yeah.
essentially, I think.
And another thing I really do feel like is a lot of people,
Yeah.
like, how sometimes it'll take like a couple days for you to get used to a habit. I feel like it's something, like they're not used to. So, you have to just keep doing it on and
Yeah.
on. And then it's like your brain's gonna remember it. So yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Right.
For sure. It's like with anything. If you want to get your stamina up, you got to run.
Right.
You want to build muscle, you got to go to the gym.
Right.
So in that same vein, right? How does meditation help someone's like personal growth? Like as a person, as an individual, like depending on what stage you are in life, how would you say?
I would say how it helps.
Yeah.
I definitely would say it would make them a more calmer person and not react to certain situations like how they used to before. Because I realize when I don't meditate and I skip it throughout the day, it definitely makes me more of an angrier person, like definitely. So that's one of the ways how it can make you change as a person. Yeah, like personal growth.
So what you say, like it's such part of your routine that if you don't do it, you feel kind of like
You feel off.
you feel
yeah.
off. It's like you're not the same person, right?
Right,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. No, that's amazing. How long ago did you start meditation yourself?
I started meditation, I say, about 20, I think it was about like 2021 or 2022. I don't remember, but it was definitely around one of those because I did have a period where I went off and then I came back, but I'll say 2022.
2022.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah.
So I know you said you really put a lot of emphasis on breathing techniques.
Right.
So like, what was when you first started meditation? What did you try to do? What was in your immediate surroundings? Like, what was it in your room? Was it at like someone like in like the living room, whatever? Like, did you have a computer with you? Were you on the floor? Were you in your bed?
So I did start off inside my room, but as I got on and I realized I needed like, more quiet and peace, I started doing things like going outside to the roof, stuff like that, because it's more peaceful outside instead of hearing people in your house. Right.
Got it. Yeah. So what you did was that you first did it in your room, but it was a little too distracting.
Right.
And so you moved on to the roof where sort of drowned out the noise a little bit.
Right.
Got it. Okay. I guess in terms of like breathing techniques,
Yeah.
what are like what different techniques are you familiar with, and like what has worked for you? What did you start off with, and
Okay.
how did you grow through that?
So first, I'll breathe in for about 4 seconds. I hold it for 4 seconds, and then I release it for 4 seconds, and then I just stop for 4 seconds. I call it the 4-4-4-4. Yeah, but just like that.
Got it. So you
That's
inhale 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds, then you before you take another breath, you wait 4 seconds.
yeah,
Got it.
right.
Got it. And what other? So when you talk about techniques, right? Are you talking about different timings? Like so
Yeah,
instead of 4 seconds, so one person might be a little longer, like 6, 8, 10,
yeah,
12.
like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you're breathing, when you're inhaling and exhaling, are you doing it through your nose, through your mouth? Like are you holding that in
I,
like your upper chest, your lower chest?
I do it in through my nose and I breathe out through my mouth.
Got it.
But yeah,
Okay. Okay. What and I know like it's probably your experience has probably changed throughout the months, right? You
all
know,
right,
it's like it's gotten more and more effective every time. Like every time you do it, I'd assume it gets I don't want to say easier because it's probably still hard to maintain that focus, right? But
especially the environment I'm in.
you
Yeah,
you get more used to it as time goes on, and
Right.
you're better built to deal with like the difficulties and the obstacles that you encounter
Right.
when you're actually doing that, right?
right.
So I guess what's one style of meditation that has like surprised you, something that you haven't tried, like something that you have tried like once in the past that you're like, oh, I want to keep like returning to this works for me, or like what would you recommend to someone who's just starting out?
I'm not gonna lie. Me like starting off before I did the breathing techniques, I used to just put all good thoughts in my head because a lot of negative thoughts will pop up. So
Yeah.
I just put the good thoughts in and try to block out anything negative that would come inside my head. So that was the first thought because negative thoughts could definitely affect your meditation and make it harder. But when you got positive thoughts, it makes it way better.
Yeah.
So that's why I try to block those out when I first started.
When you say good thoughts, like what do you mean by good thoughts? What are some good thoughts?
Like where do I see myself in 5 years? What do I see myself doing? Like those type of thoughts.
Got it.
Just positive thinking.
So like optimistic,
Right.
optimistic thinking.
Right.
Got it. Okay. And I'd assume like, a big part of doing this is sort of letting go of like your feelings
Definitely.
for that on that specific day, or maybe if you decide to do it on one morning, you might still be like adjusting or like recuperating from what you heard that night, the night before. Like say if someone gives you some really really hard news the night before, or you're still like dealing with some news you heard at work that day before or something like that,
Yeah.
and it ruins that entire day for you.
Yeah.
And so you're sort of waking up the next day, right?
Yeah.
With those really toxic, those demonic thoughts still in your mind. How does someone deal with that? Because I'm speaking personally. Because like when I think of meditation, this is something I really want to implement into my own life. But there are things that I've done in the past. There are things that I wish I could have done that still like live in my chest. Like it lives in my mind, and like, that's like my hardest thing. Like let go, like just letting go and like losing that anxiety. Because I know me and like a lot of other people have like a lot of anxiety, and that's something I still struggle with. So
Right.
if you could give me any insight into that, or like to any of the viewers watching, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
I feel like sometimes you really just have to, forgive yourself for certain things in the past.
Forgiveness, yeah.
Right. Or, you said like you did certain things that you said you had certain things you wish you could have did. I think about it like it's really in a sense of like if I didn't complete something, I feel like it's never too late now to go and do it. But if it was something that you can't go back to, I really feel like there's no reason to regret it. Certain things happen. It happens.
It's life.
Right. It's life.
You can't predict life. You can't set up what you're gonna do this day, that day, next day.
Right.
Life has its own track, you know.
No.
If you whoever believes in like whatever higher power you believe in, whatever God you believe in, you know, they have a
Right.
plan for you. That's what I believe.
Right. So I really feel like, in a sense, you really should just, try and, because this did happen to me before. It really did affect my meditation, like,
Yeah.
because I did have a friend who passed away. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah, nah, it's cool, but
Yeah.
that definitely did really affect how I was meditating. I didn't do it for a while after that happened, but had to get back on track. But I really feel like you should, if you want to give yourself time to just stay off the meditation and get your mind right, you definitely should. I feel like that's something you should take care of your mental health. So if it's in a sense of you quitting meditation just to get your mind right on the things that happen, you should do that, and then just get right back on track when you're feeling better.
I like what you just said about how even though you're trying to implement something as good as meditation into your life, if it's hard for you to do that, or if you feel off that day, then it's maybe it's good to stop meditating for a little while.
Right.
It's not meant to be something that has to be in your life. It's meant to supplement your life.
Right.
It's meant to be used as a supplement, just how you use protein as a supplement when you go to the gym. It's only supposed to help you. It's not supposed to harm you, right?
Right.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
Right.
And another thing you said that really touched me was, if there's something you really want, right? Or if there's something you really, really want to go back to, it's never too late.
Never too late.
It's never too late.
I always feel like that.
It's never too late. Age is just a number, but it really is. You still have time. Like you and I, we're both young. We're both in our 20s, right?
Yeah.
So whatever it is that you regret, you just sort of have to take it in stride and just wake up the next day and keep it pushing, Right. And like another thing too that's really helped me is like talking to people as well, like in terms of like letting go of that past anger and those past those really bad toxic thoughts.
Right.
I really for instance, like my friends. I love talking to my friends about like certain things that bother me.
Yeah.
And I always find that it really, really helps me. So maybe that's something people could do as well, right?
Right.
Sort of like talking to people or like like stuff like that.
Right.
And the thought that you could do something in the future that you wish you would have done in the past. There's still time, right?
Right.
You're not in a race with anybody. I don't know if you've experienced this, but especially on social media, everybody's on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're wrapped up in this constant wave of like comparing yourself to people.
Yes.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
How do you feel about that? You feel a strong way about that?
I ain't gonna lie, man. I say I used to see like a lot of, cause I used to on social media I used to follow a lot of the rappers, the local people from where I'm from. So I used to see just a lot of people flashing money, wearing flashy clothes a lot, and that's just it just made me wanna be that person. But obviously that wasn't for me, Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So it does affect you in a way.
It does affect you, especially like you said, like when you wake up in the morning and you get on your phone first thing in the morning, right?
Right.
That's all like the algorithm, whatever algorithm they use, the Instagram, the Facebook.
Right.
It's like tailored to you and what you like.
Right.
So it just makes it harder. The more you're on the social media, the harder it gets, right?
Right.
I fall victim to that too. Like you see all these influencers with the things that they have, and like gym routines and stuff, and you're like you sort of wish you were that person.
Right.
But it sort of distracts you in a way that, you realize you want these things, but you can't. It almost makes you angry. It almost makes you angry or upset that you're not in this position that this person's in.
Right. Definitely. Yeah.
And you think back to like your past and you're like, damn, what could I have done differently? I should have started going to the gym. I should have started running. I should have started meditating earlier than I have.
Right.
But what can you do? The past is gone, right?
Right.
You just have to. All you have to now work on is the present and the future.
Right.
And I think if someone if someone is really having a tough time, I think the first step, right? The first step would be putting the phone down.
Definitely, or at least, like I said, when you wake up, just just leave yourself an hour from the phone, at least 2, something like that. So
Yeah.
just to get your mind right,
Yeah.
you know? And definitely stop following people on Instagram who you know like basically like is in a better position than you and they're like flaunting online. Like follow more people who motivate you, who want to do better. You know, just show you the ways and the steps to what they do and how they do it and just giving it the information to you and you just take that and you apply it to yourself. Definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we have to stop like wanting to be certain people
Right.
that we see online and instead
Right.
like taking like at their attributes
Right.
and like sort of applying it to our own lives to,
Right.
to you know to accomplish what we want to accomplish
Right.
later on down the line or whatever it may be. But yeah, no, that's all really good. When if you had to think back through all the times you've meditated, right? Like
Right.
maybe this week, whatever like hard times you've had to deal with, right? Whether it be some decisions you've made,
Right.
or like some stuff regarding school, whatever it may be.
Right.
How do you have you resorted to meditation to sort of deal with that when you're sad or depressed? Maybe does it help you? Does like if you're sad, if you hear some really bad news, right? Is meditation like a viable option for you to do like when you feel that way? Is it able to like flush out those thoughts?
I would say like yeah and no, but you know, cause after the meditation, you do still kind of have it on your mind, but you know, just being to yourself, you know, just in your little box, that does make you feel better too. You know, cause when I'm in my moment and I'm mad, I don't really like a lot of people talking to me, you know, interacting with me. I just like to be alone and by myself. Right.
So if you gotta take the time, just take the time and just be on your own, just be solitary, and just
Definitely,
with your own
yeah.
thoughts, right?
Yeah.
For sure. When what was I gonna say? I guess. And say like you start the morning and for like the younger guys who have to go to school, like high school, college, whatever.
Yeah.
The people that have to go to work, the office. If you're feeling sort of uneasy throughout the day, can you take time away? Like if you're in the office, right?
Yeah.
Is it strange for someone to stop working and sit on their floor and just really like do some breathing exercises, or can meditation be done anywhere, any time of the day?
It could be done anywhere, any time of the day.
Yeah.
I even meditated in the classroom, you know, because I wasn't able to meditate in the morning because, you know, it's like certain people will play music when you wake up, you know, it's a whole lot of things, you know, people walking in and out the room, distractions, so you're not able to do what you want to do. So I say, okay, I'll go up here and I'll do it. Take the headphones, you know, just go in a quiet space and then turn everything up all the way. Right.
Okay. You mentioned music.
Yeah.
Was music something you implemented early on, or is it something? Because I know some people, like in my personal life,
Yeah.
like a really like, so music does like really like soft tones, you know. It really does help them when it comes to meditation. They just put it on not too loud, not too low, just like right in the middle, and it can really like help them like focus on clearing their mind. Like, is that something like you started doing? Did you start with like music in the background or some sort of like tune or like a beat? Like, or is this something you do now, or?
This is something I do now. I say before I was more focused on like what's a quietness. Just that's what I needed, you know. Like where can I find a quiet place? If for me, if it's not quiet where I'm at right now, that's more of the person I was. Yeah.
Got it. Are you when you're meditating, right? Like say if you're in your room, are you on the floor? Are you crossing your legs on the floor?
Yeah. I'll either meditate on the floor or I'll meditate on the bed. Either or. But yeah, definitely when my legs crossed. You know, in a certain position like this. Right.
Would you ever meditate with somebody? Do you think having like a person to do it with?
I feel like that's a personal thing. It's a personal thing. I definitely do it by myself.
Definitely do it by yourself, right?
Right.
Yeah. No, because sometimes like it gets a little distracting, especially when they're breathing and stuff.
Right. Definitely.
Got it. When what is the last like meditation session you had where you sort of came to like a certain realization that you hadn't come to before? Like, what's something new that you discovered about meditation most recently that if you can think of something?
Or something new I discovered about meditation.
Yeah. Or like how it's like something new about yourself that you discovered through meditation. Doesn't have to be about meditation specifically.
You know, like I usually when I do meditations, before when I used to do meditations, I would get like spiritual downloads, but that's for like a whole nother, conversation. But yeah, like something like that, like certain things will come to my head and I'll be like, oh, like I didn't even realize this and I'm just realizing this now. It's just like more on a deeper level. But yeah, that's a whole nother conversation though. Yeah.
Are you like when you meditate, are you ever like, I know a big part of the conversation we've had so far is that you try to like block out some thoughts, but sometimes voices, specifically conversations you've heard throughout the day, they sort of make their way in, right?
Right. Yeah.
What is there something that comes to your mind, like when a person says something that you reacted to in a certain way? Does that line that they said ever replay in your mind? Does it make you think of ways I could have like better reacted to this, or ways that I could have, or things that I could have said that I didn't say? That could like ease the situation, or you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like stuff like from like if I'm meditating on a certain day, like the stuff from the past, like the day before, it definitely sticks to your head. Certain things, it depends on what it is though. But if it affected you in a certain way, it'll stick to your head. But yeah, certain things I'll forget though.
What are, if you could think back to like maybe like last 2 weeks, what are some things that like sort of stuck with you?
What happened with me not passing the test, just me trying to improve myself on a daily basis, trying to do better day by day.
Yeah.
Just come through my head like I got to do this, I got to do that. This is like a plan that's coming down to my head. Yeah.
I feel like people get discouraged when they can't accomplish something that they set out to accomplish on the first go.
Right.
I feel like it's natural for somebody to be sad or depressed because of that.
Right.
And I've dealt with that. My friends have dealt with that. My family's dealt with that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we're human beings and we have to steadily improve. Everything is not like 0 to 100 in an instant, right?
Right.
It's a process. Things that I've failed in the past, or things that you might have failed in the past, you just have to like look at it and just realize what went wrong and just work on that.
Right.
It's not a race. It's not a race. You can't race with people.
Right.
Especially in something like as delicate as meditation. You can't compare yourself to people. You can't race. It's whatever works for you. Life is so individual. Like we're all different individuals. Different things work for different people.
Right.
And I guess it really matters. Like it really matters to find what works for you.
Definitely.
When it comes to this world right now, with all like the violence, particularly ICE agents taking children and parents away from their children in this political climate that we're in right now, and with the war going over in the Middle East, all the violence and stuff there,
negativity, a lot of
the
stuff,
negativity, it might be far away from us here in the Bronx, but it's
definitely,
we see these people every day. We see law enforcement. We see all these things throughout the day. Like,
right.
How does somebody who's really passionate about those things, right, who really wants to make the world like a better place, who wishes the violence wasn't as prevalent, how do they start meditating if there's so much noise outside the window? Like with all the problems going on outside, I'd imagine someone feeling a little small because their problems aren't as big as what other people are going through. Like there are people in wars, there are people who are dying because there are people who don't even know where the next meal is going to come from.
Right.
I feel like you and I's like problems, it might dwarf in a certain way to them, right?
Definitely.
How does someone deal with that? Wishing that children could be fed, or mothers could be with their kids, but instead of they've been taken away by immigration agents. How does that make you feel? Like how does someone like in the wake of all that negativity, basically? How do you feel about that?
I'm not gonna lie, it does make me feel like sad, because I feel like since I was a kid, like the world just been going down and down, like, and it just make me feel like like a couple years from now, like how is the world gonna be? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like like what position are we gonna be in? Like, see, the wars going on, all of this. It's just like it's a lot. Like, so we can't, we definitely see what's going on and what's happening, but it's like we can't predict like where we're gonna be in the next couple of years. Like with electricity, food, just certain things, having to go to war and everything like that. Like having to make sure your family is safe, feel me? I know a couple people that's watching this, they do think like that. Definitely. Like where are we gonna be? Right.
It's hard, it's
Right.
difficult. It's not. And that's something like, things can happen, life happens, death happens. And,
Right.
Like when something traumatic happens to a person, it can be hard to like get back on track or like maintain a
Right.
routine, Sometimes things need to change. Sometimes people need to deviate a little bit,
Right.
take time for themselves, and then come back a little later on,
Yeah.
No, but it's, especially in today's world, I think it could definitely be put to some use, like meditation in and of itself, helping
Right.
people. And maybe there's some people in life that might benefit from meditation because they're such like an angry person or they're so anxious.
Right.
One thing that I want to go back to or like highlight is that like the anxiety of life.
Right.
I grew up really anxious. I think I'm a pretty anxious person when it comes to
Definitely.
maintaining.
Same here.
When it comes to maintaining things, or like living up to people's expectations, or like failing things that I want to do good at.
Right.
And it bothers me. There are things I wish I would have done, or there are things that I have to do that I'm scared to like really start.
Yeah, same here.
Like how have you dealt with the anxiety? Like even if it's not through meditation, I feel like this sort of all like ties in. How does someone work on dealing with their anxiety? Because even I would love to know, because I'm still trying to figure that out.
Well, I really heard that anxiety is really like you thinking of, what's the word I'll say? You thinking of the future, like what's to happen, But you gotta be more of a person who's like in the moment. Because a lot of people get anxiety because they think like, oh, what if this don't go right? Oh, or other things. Oh, like what does this person think about me? What like stuff like that. You just gotta be more of an in the person, more of an in the moment person. Just don't let certain thoughts get to you. That's what I really feel like. But me growing up, it's different out here, especially in New York.
And where did you grow up? You grew up in New York?
I grew up in New York. I grew up in Far Rockaway.
Far Rockaway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. So it was a lot going on out there. It's just the environments was different. It was just a lot of bullying. All this. So a lot of people, self-esteem was just down.
Depleted, yeah.
So anxiety is just crazy. Right. But you just gotta learn how to overcome certain things like that as you get older. If if you still have that when you're young, because that does carry with you when you get older. Right.
You mentioned something about self-esteem.
Right.
Has self-esteem something you've dealt with? Because it's something I've definitely tried to do.
Of course, I was I wasn't very good in math, and it was people younger than me who was better at math. So I used to get bullied a lot about me, like. People saying like, "Oh, you're slow," this and that. You don't know certain things, but it's just like, so you gotta understand. People learn a different way, Yeah, and I was the kid who I was scared to go up to the teacher.
You were scared to ask for help, right? I was the same way.
Yeah.
And then the teacher would call me out in the middle of class saying like, "Yo, you need to come see me for extra help."
Yeah,
it was the same situation with me.
Because I didn't want my students in the class thinking about me a certain type of way. Because I was already, I had an IEP, so I was in a small class already, So most of the students in there, they were kind of ahead, so I felt the type of way about that. Right.
You don't want to be perceived as in another way, right?
Right.
You have an image you have to uphold. Everybody has an an image of themselves that they want other people to see.
Yeah. So
And you know, like if you realize that you're the guy that needs help, people are gonna think of you as like
feel me?
you're like you're stupid or you're dumb or you know it makes you feel
stuff
it makes you
like
feel
that.
small.
Right.
Right. Have you ever faced those fears and actually went up to a teacher, like whether it be at the end of class, like on like your own when nobody else was there? Is that something that you might have done or?
Nah, I really feel like when I was young, I really never did that. I was I would ask my parents for help, you know, when I got home. But my mom, she works all day. You know, she comes home, she's tired, exhausted, so she goes to sleep. She can't help me. And my dad, no, he did come there and kind of help me with homework, but you know, he has his own things that he had to deal with too. Like as I got older too, more stuff started to appear. So you know, I just had to definitely just I don't know, man. I just had to figure it out on my own for real. Yeah.
And like I feel like that's a lot of that's the way people learn too. Like when they don't have the resources or the people aren't available,
Right.
you sort of just got to do it on your own.
Right.
But man, does it help like when you have people there who actually help you?
Right. Definitely.
We're like, yeah, no, for sure, for sure. You know, I think back to the times where I could have asked for help, and you know, I tell myself now that I wish I did.
Right.
How do you deal with regret? Is that something you often comes into your mind during meditation and things like that, or?
I'm gonna lie, I do still have regret for certain things. Like I wished I
Everyone
actually
does,
would
for
have.
sure.
Yeah, I wish I would have actually stayed in class. You know, I wish I would have. You know, did certain things right. Now that I'm ahead and I'm just looking at certain things, but you know, how to deal with it now. I really just try to just be on top of what I'm. You know. What I'm dealing with, like, okay, I didn't go to school, so now I'm gonna just make it right, you know, just do
Make it right.
everything
It's
I
not
did.
too late.
It's never too
It's
late.
not too
Like I
late.
said, yeah.
It's not too late. You know, it's not too late to make things right. Now that you're here, now that you're healthy, you know, health is wealth.
Of course.
That's I feel like, and that's you know that leads me to my next point too, or like my next question. You know, something I want to talk about, like health. I know some people, especially like older people, who have so many responsibilities, who have like a significant other, who have children, who have estranged children they need to take care of, they need to provide benefits, they need to give money to.
Right.
Whose health isn't in the right situation.
Right.
Is health something, you know, thank God, like we're both still here on the earth. You know, I know there's something, especially with COVID. A few years ago, we had a whole quarantine that killed millions of people.
Right.
Has health been something that you've prioritized in your life? Is it something that you've almost like you've had difficulties with? That's something that you had to come to grips with? Has your lifestyle changed because of your health, your declining health, or ways that you wanted to improve your health?
Yeah.
Because that's something I genuinely struggle with, because I had some stuff that happened to me after COVID, because of COVID.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Because I feel like people have so many things to deal with in life, right?
Right.
That they can't concentrate on their health.
Right.
When in reality, you know, someone might have 1,000 problems, right?
Right.
But if they're sick or if something's wrong with their body, they have one problem. And it's to get better.
To get better.
People forget about that. But like, what's your experience with that?
So definitely, like I told you, you know, I had around my spiritual awakening, I started looking more into food, you know, and I actually started reading the back of my foods, and I started realizing there are certain things in food that's not supposed to be in food, that's actually making us sick and is actually poisoning us. So as I started seeing that, I started looking more into the foods I was eating. And I really went through a phase where I stopped eating frozen foods, like frozen pizza, you know, certain things. I was straight on vegetables and, you know, all of this. For me, stop drinking certain juice, everything.
Yeah.
Right.
What you say you're looking at the back of like packages and stuff, right?
Packages.
So you're looking at the ingredients, what things are made of. What's
Right.
some things that like you've seen like that have
Soy. Definitely soy. I forgot another thing. MSG.
MSG?
Yeah. You know,
Like all
a
like
lot
the
of things like that.
the artificial coloring. and
Yeah,
stuff.
like names that we can't even
like
pronounce.
the science, like the compounds. Yeah.
Right. Like
If you can't pronounce it, it can't be good for you, right?
can't be good for you, right? Like literally, White Castle, they got a sign in the back of their burgers, and it literally says this product may cause cancer. It literally says that clear as day on the back, but people don't read the back of their food. They just grab the food and they they own. Yeah, I really seen that on the White Castle burgers. It says this product can cause cancer and harm to your body, and I said people still eating this is crazy.
So like what you're really doing right now is prioritizing whole food.
Right. So I got sea moss.
Sea moss. Wait. So tell me about sea moss. What I don't know about too much about sea moss. Sea
moss has 92 of the. I think it's 102 minerals that your body needs, and it's definitely like a superfood. It cleans out your system. It helps you in the long run. And I do take dates. Those definitely
you like
good.
Prunes? You like prunes? I love prunes.
I love that. What is the I just made it to beets. I got a lot of things. Tamarind,
I love tamarind.
All of that. I just started getting more into more healthy foods.
I love tamarind. Yeah, my family's from South America and the Caribbean.
Oh,
so
okay.
I grew up with tamarind.
Good, man. I just got into those.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely I'm just more into trying to make my health better, because I've been doing this, but it's like I've been on and off, because I get to a period like, okay, I'm tired of eating just straight healthy food. You start craving that sugar, so you get back on track.
And like that's another thing too. Like I guess one thing I want to talk about real quick is when someone's really like focused on honing in on their body, their health. They stay away from like the processed sugar for a really, really long time. But like obviously we're not perfect, right? We can't be like that. Like if you really have a craving, what do you recommend? Should like they go back to it for a little bit? Just have it in moderation?
I mean, this is what you can do. Take them in like smaller, you feel me? Like smaller portions. Don't like soda. If you like soda once a week at least. You feel me? Cookies, all this like once a week. Don't make it a everyday thing. All right, because that's when it starts to become a problem. So I feel like if people want to get off of it, they should just lower it down and then try to completely get off of it.
Right. Got it. Everything in moderation.
Right.
Not too much of everything isn't good.
Right.
Anything that you take too much of it can't be good.
Right.
So I guess what we learned today is that eat healthy foods, eat whole foods, read the ingredients on the back of your food, and try to implement meditation. Right.
Right.
Because however you might struggle, as long as you're setting a little, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes aside out of your day, I think it'll benefit anyone.
Definitely.
Especially slowing out. Yeah. If there's anything else you wanna tell the people or like do about meditation, if there's anything you want to get off your mind before we
I'll definitely say if you're just starting out with meditation, just take it slow and easy. It might not be easy, it's gonna be a hard journey, but just go right through it. And you definitely should eat healthier. Look at the things that you eat,
And I'm sure when you start eating healthier, you'll feel better.
Have
you felt better once you started looking at the things you've been eating, like your ingredients and stuff?
Of course. I stopped getting a lot of the cravings, I used to have like stomach problems, like bloating, gas, a lot of those. Once I stopped eating like a lot of, foods that had a lot of processed sugar and all that, it definitely started feeling better.
I'm sure it helps you focus too, right, during meditation.
And with the sugar, I said with the working out and all of that, it just really helps me too. Yeah, because you burning out all of that. Because when you sweat, that's all the toxins leaving your body. So you just burning everything out while you eating healthy.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's good. No, I think we can all learn from that.
Definitely.
Well, Masai, thank you. I appreciate you sitting down and doing this with me.
I appreciate you for having me.
Of course. We'll do this next time, right? We'll probably talk about a different topic. Like we talked about health today. Maybe we could talk about something next time. We'll see.
We could talk about health next time.
Yeah,
something similar.
To delve deeper into health, some ingredients or habits some people might develop with like snacking and different whole foods that they could try.
Right.
I think that'd be great.
Right.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
All right.
I appreciate
you.
Masai. Take care.
Of course.
See you
too.
That was good, right?
That was very good.
That was good.